Okay, so we're diving into Cinnulin PF today.
Right.
And, you've sent us a pretty interesting collection of articles,
Yeah.
excerpts,
Mm-hmm.
even some forum discussions about this cinnamon extract.
Right.
And
It's fascinating.
yeah, I have to admit, I'm intrigued.
Yeah. What I find really interesting is how we can take something like cinnamon,
Yeah.
which everybody knows.
Right.
We all have it in our kitchen.
It's so familiar.
But then through science, unlock all these new potential benefits.
Right. It's like cinnamon 2.0 or something.
Exactly.
So today we're going to be exploring what exactly Cinnulin PF is,
Yes.
how it compares to, the cinnamon we sprinkle on our oatmeal or whatever,
Right.
and why you might choose one over the other.
Exactly. And we'll also look at the science behind it.
Okay.
So we'll look at studies on blood sugar,
Okay.
metabolic health,
Mm-hmm.
and even some early research on its potential in managing some complex conditions.
Okay, this sounds like we have a lot to cover.
Yeah, we do.
So first things first, what exactly is Cinnulin PF?
So Cinnulin PF is a water-soluble extract of cassia cinnamon.
Okay.
Now that's important because cassia cinnamon is known for its potent effects,
Mm.
but it also contains coumarin,
Right.
which can be a concern for liver health, particularly in high doses.
So that's where the extraction process comes in.
Exactly. They've managed to remove the coumarin during the extraction,
Okay.
making Cinnulin PF safe for long-term use.
Got it.
And here's another key point. It's standardized.
Okay.
This means that every dose has the same precise amount of the beneficial compounds,
Okay.
those type A polyphenol polymers.
So it's not just any old cinnamon extract.
I know it's very specific.
It's very specific.
And that standardization is crucial
Okay.
because regular cinnamon,
Mm.
whether it's cassia or Ceylon, can vary a lot in its potency.
Oh, okay.
You might get a batch with tons of active compounds,
Yeah.
or you might get one that's pretty weak.
So with Cinnulin PF, you know what you're getting.
Exactly.
It's
Consistency is key.
That makes sense. But I'm curious, though, some people might say, well, why not just use Ceylon cinnamon?
Right.
Because it has less coumarin, naturally.
That's true. Ceylon cinnamon is generally considered safer
Yeah.
in terms of coumarin content, but it's also less potent
Okay.
in terms of those beneficial compounds.
Okay.
To get the same effects as cassia, you'd need to consume a lot of Ceylon cinnamon.
And probably end up with a stomach ache.
Quite possibly. And plus, it's just not practical for most people
Right.
to be eating that much cinnamon every day.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And this is where the bioavailability of Cinnulin PF comes in.
Okay.
As a concentrated extract, it's much easier for your body to absorb and utilize.
So smaller doses.
Yes.
Greater potential benefits.
Easy.
Less risk. Okay. I see the appeal here.
Yeah.
But let's get to the research,
Yeah.
because that's what really matters.
Absolutely.
What does the science actually say about Cinnulin PF's effects?
This is where it gets exciting.
Okay.
We have multiple clinical studies demonstrating its effectiveness.
All right.
One of the most well-documented benefits is its ability to improve blood sugar control.
Okay, so how exactly does it do that?
Right.
Does it just lower blood sugar directly?
It's more nuanced than that.
Go.
Cinnulin PF works by improving insulin sensitivity.
Okay.
So think of insulin as a key that unlocks the doors of your cells,
Right.
allowing glucose to enter and be used for energy.
Okay, I'm following.
Now, when your cells become resistant to insulin,
Mm-hmm.
it's like those doors are getting rusty.
Okay.
The key doesn't work as well.
Yeah,
Glucose can't get in as easily,
right.
leading to higher blood sugar levels.
Okay.
Cinnulin PF seems to help oil those rusty doors, so to speak.
Interesting.
It enhances insulin signaling,
Okay.
making your cells more responsive to insulin.
So it's not just lowering blood sugar, it's improving how your body actually uses it.
Exactly.
Okay, that's interesting. So this must be particularly relevant for people with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely. For those individuals, improving insulin sensitivity is key
Right.
to managing their condition and potentially even preventing it from progressing.
Okay.
In fact, studies have shown that Cinnulin PF can significantly reduce fasting blood sugar levels and improve HbA1c,
Wow.
which is a marker of long-term blood sugar control.
That's pretty impressive for a natural extract.
It is.
What about those of us who don't have blood sugar issues? Are there any benefits for us?
Definitely. Cinnulin PF has also been shown to have positive effects on what we call metabolic health.
Okay, break that down for me. What does metabolic health actually mean?
It's basically how efficiently your body processes and uses energy.
Okay.
It encompasses things like blood pressure, cholesterol levels,
Okay.
and even how your body stores fat.
Got it.
Think of it as the foundation for your overall health.
Okay, so how does Cinnulin PF fit into that picture?
Well, studies have shown that Cinnulin PF can help improve several markers of metabolic health.
Okay.
For instance, it can help lower blood pressure,
Okay.
improve cholesterol levels,
Mm-hmm.
both the good and the bad kind,
Hmm.
and even reduce waist circumference.
Wow. So it's like a multi-pronged approach to
Exactly.
metabolic well-being.
Yes.
And we know that good metabolic health is linked to a lower risk of chronic diseases.
Exactly. So taking care of your metabolic health is like investing in your long-term health and well-being.
Right. That makes sense. You mentioned earlier that Cinnulin PF might also play a role in more complex therapies.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about that?
One area of emerging research is looking at its potential in addressing diabetic complications,
Okay.
specifically wound healing and endothelial dysfunction,
Okay.
which is damage to the lining of your blood vessels.
So it's not just about managing blood sugar, it's about protecting against the damage that high blood sugar can cause over time.
Precisely. And some of the research is getting really interesting.
Oh.
One study even used mRNA sequencing
Okay.
to investigate how Cinnulin PF influences gene expression.
Hold on. mRNA sequencing, that sounds pretty high-tech.
It is.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to zoom in and see which genes are being flipped on or off
Okay.
in response to a specific substance.
Yeah.
That's what mRNA sequencing allows us to do.
So in this case, they were looking at how Cinnulin PF impacts the activity of genes related to wound healing and blood vessel function.
Exactly. And what they found
Yeah.
is that Cinnulin PF actually modulated the expression of certain genes involved in these processes.
Well, so it's not just working on a surface level.
No,
It's potentially influencing things at a deeper genetic level.
that's what makes this research so exciting.
Yeah.
It suggests that a simple cinnamon extract,
Hmm.
refined and targeted, can have a profound impact on our biology.
That's amazing.
It is. Yeah, it really opens up a whole new way of thinking about, how we can utilize natural compounds.
Totally. And to be honest, when I think of cinnamon, I think of, like cozy fall desserts,
Right.
not cutting edge science.
Exactly.
So this is pretty mind-blowing, but before we get too carried away,
Yeah.
I want to make sure we're clear on how Cinnulin PF actually works to improve insulin sensitivity.
Right.
You mentioned those type A polyphenol polymers,
Yes.
but what are they actually doing at a cellular level?
That's a great question, and researchers are still, piecing together all the details.
Okay.
But what we know so far is that these polymers seem to act like little messengers within the cells,
Okay.
activating specific pathways that enhance glucose uptake and utilization.
So they're like sending signals to the cells saying, hey, open up, left the glucose in.
Exactly. They're essentially improving the communication
Okay.
between insulin and the cells.
Got it.
And here's where the standardization becomes really crucial, because Cinnulin PF is standardized.
Right.
We know that each dose contains the same amount of these active polymers,
Okay.
so we can be more confident in its ability to deliver consistent results.
That makes sense. Now, we've talked a lot about the potential benefits, but what about the downsides? Are there any risks or side effects that people should be aware of?
So Cinnulin PF has a very good safety profile, especially compared to regular cassia cinnamon, because the coumarin has been removed.
Right.
However, some people might experience mild digestive discomfort,
Well,
things like heartburn or an upset stomach,
mm-hmm.
especially if they take it on an empty stomach.
So like with many supplements, it's best to take it with food.
Exactly. And of course, it's always important to follow the recommended dosage guidelines.
Right.
More is not necessarily better.
And this is where talking to your doctor comes in, right?
Absolutely.
Especially if you have any underlying health conditions.
Yes.
Or taking other medications.
They can help determine if Cinnulin PF is appropriate for you and guide you on the proper dosage.
Perfect. Let me go back to the research on diabetic complications for a minute.
Sure.
You mentioned wound healing and endothelial dysfunction.
Yes.
What's the current state of the research in those areas?
Well, in terms of wound healing,
Yeah.
there have been studies showing that Cinnulin PF can accelerate the healing process in diabetic mice.
Interesting.
This is likely due to its ability to promote the formation of new blood vessels and reduce inflammation,
Okay.
both of which are essential for tissue repair.
So it's not just slapping a Band-Aid on the problem.
No.
It's helping the body heal itself more effectively.
Exactly. And when it comes to endothelial dysfunction,
Mm-hmm.
remember, that's damage to the lining of your blood vessels,
Right.
which is a major contributor to cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
Cinnulin PF has been shown to improve endothelial function in both animal and human studies.
That's really promising. So it's like Cinnulin PF is helping to protect the very infrastructure of our circulatory system.
It's one way to look at it. And these findings are supported by that mRNA sequencing study we discussed earlier.
Right.
They found that Cinnulin PF influenced the expression of genes related to cell growth inflammation,
Okay.
oxidative stress, and blood vessel formation.
Wow.
All processes that are essential for maintaining healthy blood vessels and promoting wound healing.
It's fascinating to see how all these pieces connect.
It is.
Now, I know we can't give medical advice, but are there other groups of people who might be particularly interested in Cinnulin PF?
Oh, yeah.
Based on the research?
Well, given its effects on insulin sensitivity and metabolic health,
Yeah.
athletes or anyone who engages in regular, intense exercise might find it beneficial.
I wouldn't have thought of that. How so?
Intense exercise can actually temporarily increase blood sugar levels.
Okay.
And while that's a normal response, Cinnulin PF might help to support a more balanced blood sugar response,
Got it.
preventing those extreme fluctuations and potentially optimizing recovery.
So it's like fine-tuning the body's ability to handle those exercise-induced changes.
Exactly.
What about older adults? As we age, our bodies don't always work as efficiently as they used to.
That's true. As we age, our insulin sensitivity naturally declines,
Right.
which can increase the risk of developing metabolic issues.
Yeah.
So for older adults, Cinnulin PF might be a valuable tool for maintaining healthy blood sugar levels
Okay.
and potentially mitigating some of those age-related changes.
It's like giving your metabolism a little extra support as you get older.
Exactly.
Now, I know there are a lot of supplements out there
Mhm.
that make bold claims, but don't always have the research to back it up.
Right.
What makes Cinnulin PF different?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
What distinguishes Cinnulin PF is the depth and quality of the research behind it.
Yep.
We're talking about multiple clinical trials, not just anecdotal reports.
Right.
And these studies have been published in reputable scientific journals,
Okay.
meaning they've undergone rigorous peer review.
So it's not just hype.
No,
It's based on solid scientific evidence.
exactly. And that level of scientific validation is what gives me confidence in recommending Cinnulin PF
Okay.
as a potential tool for supporting health and well-being.
Okay, so let's say someone is listening to this
Yeah.
and thinking, Cinnulin PF sounds pretty promising. I might want to give it a try.
Right.
What would you recommend as like a first step?
The first step, as always, is information. Do your research. Read about the studies we've discussed, and most importantly, talk to your doctor. They can help you determine if Cinnulin PF is appropriate for your individual needs and circumstances.
It's about making informed choices, not just jumping on the latest supplement bandwagon.
Precisely. And remember, even with the most promising natural remedies,
Yeah.
it's important to have realistic expectations.
Right.
Cinnulin PF is not a magic bullet.
Right.
It's a tool that can be incorporated into a holistic approach to health,
Right.
which includes a healthy diet, regular exercise,
Stress management.
stress management,
All the good stuff.
all the other good stuff we talk about.
Right. It's not about replacing those foundational habits.
No.
It's about adding another layer of support.
Exactly. And speaking of those foundational habits,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what are your thoughts on combining Cinnulin PF with other natural remedies or lifestyle changes? Could there be any synergistic effects?
That's a great question. It makes me think of things like turmeric
Yeah.
or ginger, which are also known for their anti-inflammatory properties, or
Yeah.
even lifestyle changes like incorporating mindfulness practices
Absolutely.
or getting more sleep. It seems like there's a lot of potential there.
Absolutely. And this is where personalized guidance from a healthcare professional can be invaluable.
Okay.
They can help you create a tailored plan that takes into account your individual needs and preferences,
Right.
ensuring that you're using Cinnulin PF in a way that complements your overall health journey.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Cinnulin PF,
Yeah.
are there any key points you'd want listeners to walk away with?
I think it's important to remember that while we've uncovered a lot of fascinating information,
Yeah.
research on Cinnulin PF is ongoing.
Right.
We're still learning about its full potential and the nuances of its effects.
Right.
So stay curious, stay informed,
Okay.
and keep an open mind as the science continues to evolve.
Yeah, it's like we're at the edge of a new frontier.
Exactly.
And there's so much more to explore. But for our listeners who are ready to take action today,
What's a practical step they can take to actually incorporate Cinnulin PF into their routine?
one of the easiest and most effective ways is to simply start by adding it to your daily supplement regimen.
Okay.
Cinnulin PF is widely available over the counter, and you can find it in various forms like capsules or powders.
Okay. And what about dosage? Is there a general starting point you'd recommend?
A typical starting dose is around 250 milligrams per day. but it can vary
Okay.
depending on individual needs and goals.
So not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
It's about finding what works best for you.
Exactly. And remember, it's always a good idea to start with a lower dose
Okay.
and gradually increase it as needed while paying close attention to how your body responds.
It's about listening to those internal cues
Exactly.
and adjusting accordingly. Now, I know some people might be hesitant
Yeah,
to try a new supplement.
sure.
What would you say to someone who's on the fence about Cinnulin PF?
I think I would just encourage them to, do their research.
Read about the studies.
Yeah.
Talk to their doctor.
Okay.
And really weigh the potential benefits against any concerns they might have.
I'd also remind them that, Cinnulin PF is derived from a natural source.
Right.
Cinnamon, something we've been consuming for centuries.
Exactly. It's not some, synthetic concoction created in a lab.
Right.
With Cinnulin PF, we're simply refining and harnessing the power of cinnamon
Yeah.
in a more targeted and effective way.
Right. It's like taking something familiar
Yeah.
and giving it a scientific upgrade.
Exactly. And remember, knowledge is power when it comes to your health.
Yes.
The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to make choices that align with your well-being.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the science behind Cinnulin PF to its potential benefits, practical applications.
We have?
As we wrap up this deep dive, is there anything else you'd like to emphasize for our listeners?
I think it's important to remember that health is a journey, not a destination. It's about making small, sustainable changes over time that add up to big results.
So it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Exactly. And Cinnulin PF can be a valuable tool to support you on that journey.
Well, thank you so much for guiding us through this fascinating deep dive into Cinnulin PF.
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
I feel like we've peeled back the layers and gained a much deeper understanding of its potential.
It's been great exploring this topic with you.
And to our listeners, remember, the pursuit of health and well-being is an adventure worth embarking on.
Absolutely.